What's going on? In this video, we're going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse versus self-defense. Let's not even talk about the charges in the case. We're going to talk about a few things that popped up as we go into jury deliberations and some things that will possibly change some legislature moving forward. I want to kick this off by saying like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to talk about some stuff here. Right now, it is as of November 16th. We have an article here on Fox News, Yahoo News. Kenosha protesters demand Rittenhouse be found guilty. Now, that's cute. I'm going to say that's cute because, well, that's not how the legal system works. You don't just get a bunch of people together and then just demand it, right? This isn't the 1700s and we're just going to go lynch them in the street. That's not how it works. We have a justice system, albeit pretty flawed. Overall, I think we can all agree that our justice system can do better. However, we don't just have a trial that goes on, a public trial, and then just say, well, no, some of us agree, we think you're guilty. If you want to be the person who decides whether he's guilty or not guilty, you need to be on the jury. So we have a jury of 12 people, and we need to find out what they think, not what a group of protesters think and demand it, because protesters demand a lot of things. Let's be honest. So let's hear a little bit of this article. I'm going to pop it up real quick. Here we go. A small group of demonstrators gathered outside the Kenosha courthouse during closing arguments on Monday to demand Kyle Rittenhouse be found guilty of homicide. I'm here to support the calls for Kyle to go to prison for a very long time, one demonstrator told Fox News. Another Kenosha resident said, I'm here to stand up for what's right. He should do time for what he did. Now, Rittenhouse does face charges of first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, and reckless endangerment for those shootings. Here we go. Some demonstrator didn't feel the trial was fair. This is going totally wrong. It's a shit show. And the whole nation, media, is calling it a shit show. It's racist. It's biased, one demonstrator told. This should be a mistrial. Now, I have heard this come up a few times, that it is racist. I do not, for the life of me, understand how anybody, anywhere, ever could say that this trial has any racial implications. Kyle Rittenhouse, white kid. Joseph Rosenbaum, white guy. Hubert, white guy. Grosskreutz, white guy. Nobody went out there shooting black people, Asian people, Latinos, South Africans. Just name them all. Whoever. Canadians. I mean, just pick one. It wasn't racially motivated at all, but they are arguing the fact that since the police did not show up and execute Rittenhouse because he was carrying a weapon in the street and he had just shot somebody, that it should be racist. I would argue that, or they say, well, if it was a black guy or if it was a blank guy, fill in any demographic other than white, that the outcome would have been different. You cannot say that definitively. It is not okay to assume that whoever responded to that, because to me, it would be like this. Whoever the officer was that Rittenhouse walked up to and said, I shot somebody, that officer, for not shooting Kyle Rittenhouse, is racist. If he had walked up and shot a black guy, racist. It's just crazy. The racist thing has got to go away. So for that comment, whoever you are out there that said this comment, you got to get your shit together, man. You can't go around life thinking everything's racist. Here's another quote. I mean, the very fact that the judge can continue to be on this case is an injustice. Where do they come up with this? Because the judge didn't allow the overstepping of the prosecution? It's pretty crazy. I feel like we need to show them that we're not playing and we're here and we are listening, another woman told Fox News. I mean, that is absolutely crazy to me. Now, there is another thing that stood out here as well that I wanted to go over. Prosecutor says Rittenhouse provoked the bloodshed. I don't think he provoked anything. A lot of people did carry a weapon. There is something here that stood out to me about self-defense. And that is the fact that he said, and let me find the quote. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to find this quote. Here we go. In closing arguments, prosecutor Thomas Binger said Rittenhouse was a wannabe soldier and was, quote, looking for trouble that night. Binger repeatedly showed the jury drone video that he said depicted Rittenhouse pointing an AR-style weapon at demonstrators. Now, there have been no other witnesses that said he walked around pointing the weapon at people. In fact, all of the video and photos that we see of him throughout the evening, you compile them all together, never shows him actually pointing the weapon at anybody. It's usually in a downward facing position. I don't know where he comes up with that. Now, he does say, Binger goes on to say, this is provocation. This is what starts this incident, the prosecutor declared. I don't think anyone chased down Rittenhouse because he was pointing a weapon at them. If someone's pointing an AR-15 at you, as Binger did in the courtroom at the jury, you don't run toward the AR-15. Nobody in their right mind sees someone pull a gun on them and thinks, know what I need to do? I need to run directly at that person. No one does that. It's not how it works. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Binger says he told the jury, and I quote, "You lose the right to self-defense when you're the one who brought the gun, when you are the one creating the danger, when you're the one provoking other people," end quote. This is a big deal. The fact that he said this is a huge deal, because what Binger just said in court to prove his point in a murder trial basically stated that your life is never in danger if you have the weapon. You have the gun, therefore you're not in danger. That's the most craziest asinine thing that this man could have said in a courtroom ever. To insinuate that being kicked in the head, punched, hit with something, thrown, knocked down, stabbed, anything other than a weapon to self-defense is crazy. The argument, I saw this on Tucker, well, then why do people have concealed carries? If you have a concealed carry, if you're out there right now and you carry a pistol on your hip, and I know way too many people that walk around with weapons. I see them online every day. So you're telling me that since you have the gun, you're not purview to self-defense. According to Thomas Binger, you are not purview to self-defense because you brought the gun to AKA defend yourself. But Thomas Binger says, no, you brought the gun, therefore you waive the right, you lose the right to self-defense. That is what he said, and that is insane. And if that doesn't make you at least a little bit upset, it should. It should. I look at the video and I think this to myself. Why was Joseph Rosenbaum chasing Kyle Rittenhouse? Why was he running after this kid who has a loaded AR-15? I don't know the answer to that. Then I look at the second altercation, though. They call it the second incident, right? They were going after him because they thought he was an active shooter, whatever the case may be. He fell down. Someone kicks him in the head. I know that in movies and TV that people get hit with guns in the head and they get kicked in the head and soccer kicked and kneed and punched, and they're okay. They might be beaten up. You know, Brad Pitt might be a little busted up. The Rock might be a little busted up. Ryan Reynolds may be a little busted up. And then they're okay throughout the rest of the movie. People don't just be okay from getting smashed in the face with stuff. Take a shot in the head from a skateboard. That could very well have killed Kyle Rittenhouse. That shot, if you take the sharp edge of a skateboard and you hit somebody in the back of the head, that could very well kill that person. But since Kyle Rittenhouse had the gun, he can't self-defend himself against this skateboard. That's crazy. Not to mention, Grosquich had a gun, pulled the gun. Does that not self-defense? It is a wild accusation. So we're going to find out how this plays out in terms of self-defense. And honestly, we're probably not really going to get the nitty-gritty of why the jury decides to do what they do until way after the trial, when they actually have a chance to interview some of the jurors and go, well, this is what we thought. Usually like one of them comes out and is like, you know, wants to be on TV and says, all right, well, this is what went down. We're going to have to wait to find out from that. But we have some other quotes here. Mr. Rosenbaum was shot because he was chasing my client and going to kill him, take his gun, and carry out the threats he made. We don't know that. The problem is that we don't know if that's true. We don't know what would have happened. We can't pretend that we can predict the future or a series of outcomes based on anything, right? We know that people talk mad shit, but outside of that, we can't know for sure. So it's going to be real interesting to see what the jury decides. I will tell you this. If I was on the jury, there's no chance I would agree to intentional homicide, murder one. I don't think Kyle Rittenhouse intended to go to Kenosha to shoot anybody. I think he brought the weapon because he was going into a place that was going to be hostile. And he's young, and he probably doesn't have much means to defend himself otherwise. Wasn't a big kid. And maybe, he felt like he had the right to carry it. They obviously threw the gun charge out. So, yeah. Look at this question. Why do you need 30 rounds of full metal jacket ammo to protect a building? Okay. How about this, Binger? What if he brought 6 bullets? All he needed was 6 bullets. I don't know. Why does the White House have armed guards with 30-round magazines around the White House protecting the building? There's the people inside. Well, there's people around the building. It's crazy. This trial has been crazy, and this will probably forever go down as a self-defense argument for the books. Yeah, it might change the way the law is written. It very well may happen. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments. We will come back, do a follow-up video, and talk about them. If you'd like to be on the show and talk about them, I'd love to have you. We could do a Zoom or whatever, a Skype or something. But like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll wait to see what the jury comes back to saying and how this affects our self-defense and possibly concealed carry laws in the future. Till next time, I'll see you later.